All right, now breaking news coming in from Tamil Nadu. DMK Mouthpiece has said that Tamil Nadu is 15 years ahead of India in education growth and that there is no need to implement national education policy in Tamil Nadu. So once again, voicing the opposition to the national education policy, Tamil Nadu government, the DMK ruled Tamil Nadu government saying that they've already said that they don't need national education policy. Now DMK Mouthpiece going ahead and saying that Tamil Nadu is 15 years ahead of India in education growth. Dharini now joining us for more on this. Dharini, so DMK once again voicing its opposition to the national education policy. Tell us what the party mouthpiece says.
Well, yesterday, in response to a PIL in the Madras High Court, the Tamil Nadu government had told that TN has already achieved more than a 50% gross enrollment ratio, which NEP intends to achieve only by 2025. So, in that purview, Tamil Nadu is 15 years ahead of India. Thus, insisting a state which had shown better results already is, to implement the national education policy is cruel. So, this is what the Tamil Nadu government had told in Madras High Court yesterday in response to a PIL. So, citing this, quote from citing this response by the Tamil Nadu government in the court, DMK's mouthpiece Murasoli has, today told that Tamil Nadu is 15 years ahead of India in education growth, and that the state doesn't need a national education policy, to improve its growth because it's already growing well, and there's no need for national education policy. Meanwhile, the DMK's mouthpiece Murasoli has also told, is telling that the Tamil Nadu government has constituted a committee under retired Justice Murugesan, to give recommendations to the government for a new state education policy, and that committee is currently working on it. So this committee is expected to give its recommendation to the government in 1 year time. So the DMK's mouthpiece is telling that since the Tamil Nadu government has already formed a committee to frame its own education policy, there's definitely no need for the union government's education policy. So the word union government is the key word here. While referring to the national education policy, at many points, the DMK's mouthpiece has mentioned it as the union government's education policy. So this is not the first time Murasoli is writing such an editorial. In fact, in the last 3-4 months itself, multiple times Murasoli had written editorials resisting the national education policy. So this can definitely be considered as the opinion of the DMK too, because Murasoli is the DMK's official newspaper. So this is what the DMK's mindset is also at this point in time. They are strongly resisting the national education policy. In fact, both the school education minister and the higher education minister, whenever they get a stage, they rise up and they put forward their criticism towards the national education policy, and they always tell that Tamil Nadu will only have a 2-language policy and that there's no chance for national education policy to be implemented here.
All right, Dharini, we leave it there. Thanks very much for joining us with those details from Chennai.